Welcome back to another Spirit Island video. In this video, we're going to be covering the new spirit reveal, Wandering Voice, Keen's Delirium. This is the final Incarnate spirit that we're getting in the expansion. This spirit is also the second to last spirit we are getting in this expansion. We have one more reveal sometimes next week. Wandering Voice, it is a high complexity, it's a heavy control and strife spirit, a lot of fear as well, very little defense, some utility, and little offense. You are a 0 to 1 spirit, which means you're not placing presence on reclaim. You have a 2 presence option, and then you have this G3, which is an energy card gain presence option as well. Here are your presence tracks. You have this unique spot here on top track that allows you to get a free push on your Incarna, and on bottom track you have a reclaim 1. The special rule with voice is every time your actions add or move the Incarna, you may add a strife in the destination land. And then it also has this weird rule where in lands with or adjacent to your Incarna, if strife is present, the Dahan do not participate back in the Ravage. Then it says down here, it says senseless roaming. When your actions add strife to towns or explorers, you may push any number of towns or explorers you added strife to. So basically what's going to happen is this Incarna that you have is going to move around the board. I guess I'll use this as a little diagram. You're going to move around the board, and as you move, you're going to push things from that land, adding strife to the land. And that's that heavy control aspect. This left innate is exactly what I'm talking about. You may push the Incarna, you may push the Incarna, you may push the Incarna, and then if you have this crazy threshold here, you get to empower. And then the right innate is this fear/damage innate that only can go to strifed invaders. It's very important to point out that it says here as the final threshold, for each sun moon pair you have, destroy one invader with strife. Very important because that means it gets around England extra health as well as the Habsburg. Well, I guess if it does not get around Habsburg, but it gets around England, so that's very important. Let's see. We talked about the empower. This is the one spirit where choosing G2, not placing presence, but just to push the Incarna is very, very important because remember, every time you're pushing the Incarna, you're adding a strife. Every time every time you add strife, you get to push the invaders. Looking at my tier list, I have Wandering Voice at 19 out of 68, which puts it solid in A tier. I think it's a very powerful spirit. It does quite a lot. I think its biggest weakness is into double adversaries, as well as Russia. Russia is a big problem for this thing. My favorite thing about the spirit is it combos with Grant Hatred. I'll pull out the big 3. We have Grant Hatred, we have Pent Up, and finally we have Instruments. If I can find it. There we go. And there we go. Instruments. And when I say it combos is a lot of times with this spirit, the strategy is you're pushing the Incarna around your board, and you're essentially putting all of the invaders with strife into a couple lands. And usually it's 1 to 2 lands. So imagine my land 5 here looks like this, and all of the invaders have strife on them. So anything that does a ton of damage to strife invaders is going to get a lot of value with voice. And here's Pent-Up. Remove any number of strife. For each strife removed, 1 fear, 3 damage. Insane. Instruments, same thing. Very similar. You add a strife, and then each invader with strife deals damage to other invaders in the land. So both of these cards, incredible cards on a lot of spirits in the game. And Wandering Voice, it's a win condition. So if you're playing with a Wandering Voice on your team, you may want to pick up these cards just because Wandering Voice plus Pent-Up may be like 20 fear or something, some crazy number. And then we have Grant Hatred, one of the worst cards in the game, but gained a lot of mileage because of its combo potential with Wandering Voice. Now, this card is still a bad card, but Wandering Voice can actually use it, which I think is really cool. And it says for each strife or blight in target land, 1 fear and 2 damage. So you're not going to be able to threshold this. The 4 moon is just absurd. If you guys have watched my major power tier list video, you'll know that four thresholds, four element thresholds are very challenging to hit. So let's see if there's anything else we covered. The majors, we talked about the tier position. This is one of the spirits that I have not played a single game with. Out of the eight spirits that are being introduced, I think there's only two of them that I have not touched, really. And this is one of them. I've never played a game, but I've seen it played dozens, probably around hundreds of times. And the players that play the Spirit love it. It's just very interesting, very fun. If you love the shadows, many minds, like pushing everything around, that heavy control style, you're gonna love this thing. So that concludes this video. If you like this video, like, subscribe for more content. I'll see you guys in the next video.